Mana Squad, welcome back to the Command Center, where we like to put our favorite commanders, maybe even yours, front and center. But you know we can't do that without the 3 mythical fairy tale letters, EDH. And we say it every time, so y'all should really know it by now, but we're very giving and forgiving, and we're patient. So, Ken, tell them for the, 150th time, what does EDH stand for?
No, he ain't. I'm mad. Why y'all keep forgetting what this is? It's so simple. EDH, Eldraine Destination Hotspots. That's right. We are going back to Eldraine. I hope you, hide your kids, hide your Wi-Fi, because it's time to go back to Fairy Tale Land, where we get to see all the great incarnations out there in our favorite card set. But we're going to talk about our first impressions of the set, how we really think it went down. Derek, go ahead and set them up.
Yeah, so this is our kind of first impressions video. So we'll talk about some of the major mechanics that are going to be in this set, talk about some of the different card variants that we're going to see, how we're getting our reprints, different foil types, the different cycles, all that exciting stuff to give you a quick preview of what is to come in this, because as y'all know, there's all the different versions of all the different cards coming in each set. So we're going to dive into that. But if you want any of this stuff on here and you're getting hype as well, make sure you check out our referral link. It's going to be on the screen. It's going to be in the comments. It's going to be in the description. Probably going to be on my forehead, his forehead. When he spins his hat around, it's on the other side of that too. So make sure you use that and show the channel some love. But I'm excited to get into this. If y'all have seen any of the story, we got Imhotep. Imhotep's in the set.
Yeah, he's from that movie with Brendan Fraser. So
yeah,
they've already spoiled him a long time ago.
Bam, we got Will, which I'm like, Will, there's a lot of Wills. We got Rowan.
You got Will Ferrell. You got Will Smith. Hopefully he's slapping people. You got a bunch of Wills out there.
Out of the Will we saw might be slapping. So we will get to those in a second. But let's start with the major set mechanics and really what we're looking out for in the set. So
to kick this off, to quote the great Rock Dwayne Johnson, I'm going to need you guys to know your roles and shut your mouths. That's right. There's a new mechanic called rolls.
Yes. So basically rolls, it's a card in the set is basically going to say when it does something, create a roll token. And these rolls are everything. We have wicked rolls, cursed rolls, sorcerer rolls, monster rolls. And these
butter rolls, garlic rolls, onion rolls, jelly rolls.
See, I wish those. We got food. Maybe those are yet to. That's the secret layer that's coming. We're gonna get
there's
some jelly
food in it. Wait, okay. There are food tokens in here. If they didn't make a jelly roll, then they have really missed the mark here. I'm just saying. But I will say one thing.
That's coming in Eldraine 3.
Eldraine 3. Back to the kitchen.
But real quick, just to describe these are enchantment auras. So basically, when a roll is taken, you enchant a creature with one of these, and then they kind of replace themselves. So it's a new mechanic. It seems interesting. The rolls seem kind of cool. For example, monster roll is a benefit. If you get a cursed roll, it's a drawback. Some interesting stuff in there. I like the concept of being able to enchant creatures as like a permanent form of interaction.
But the thing is, these extra concepts they do, I'm gonna be surprised because I was looking through these cards and I don't get a lot of these. Like, it does not compute because apparently you're not allowed to have 2 roles at once, which really boggles the mind. So you not allowed to stack roles. If you put one roll on top of another, like you put a dinner roll on top of a lunch roll, you can't have a lunch roll. You can only have a dinner roll. I don't know if y'all get what I'm saying.
Portion sizes, always important. And instead about food, it's all about portion sizes.
I get it. It's carb control.
See, I support the I may not have that self-control, but I support those who do. Now, jumping into the next new mechanic, it's bargain.
Okay.
So bargain is basically a mechanic that says when you're casting a spell, you can go ahead and sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or a token on cast, and it's going to give you some benefit. So you may get certain X ability from a spell, but if you bargain, then go ahead and sacrifice something, you're going to get an even better ability.
It sounds like casualties with extra steps.
So casualty specifically was for copying.
Okay.
So it copied it on the stack. This just gives different versions. It's like a modal spell, but you have to pay a price. I really, really like this mechanic just because sacrificing things is typically something you already want to do. And if you have these on an instant, for example, you can actually use these as sack outlets.
So it's like replacement for kickers.
Everything. We all know everything's kicker. We also have some returning mechanics. These are no surprises. Adventure is back. That's something we expected when we got back to Eldraine. It is as beautiful as ever. I will admit I didn't play Adventure for a while because I didn't understand it. And you might be saying, Derek, it's a simple mechanic.
It's another zone. It's another zone that I don't care about.
So,
there's only two zones I care about: the loading zone and auto zone.
I thought it was the flip zone. Table flip zone. What is it? Something lifts it, something grips it.
Yeah,
flip
the left hand grips it, the right hand flips it.
Just exactly what I said. Now we'll go on to the other returning mechanic, which are sagas, which again makes sense in like a fairy tale based set. Telling stories, going through sagas. I love all the mechanics in here. There's none of the like, nothing is like, I always kind of, my scale for new mechanics is like, is it mutate? Do I need to read a novel to understand it? Not so much. The roles are involved, but seem interesting. I'm excited to kind of get to dive into it as we get to play with these cards.
And one thing I do love, and this is just pivoting for a second, is like the arts of the card, because they literally lean into the whole fantasy aspect of this. Some of the arts are like breathtaking, especially when it comes to like the basic lands. The basic forest looks like you're falling down a rabbit hole. If you look at the islands, they look like majestic. It's very clean and very polished art.
Y'all already know that we have a favorite art, video coming for this because it's that good. Also, I'm going to address something we forgot to address at the beginning. No, your screen's not wrong. Seth isn't here. Speaking of, he's actually on an adventure right now fighting a goose hydra. We have not heard from him in a few days. Hopefully his battle with the goose hydra has gone well. But he's going to be back at some point. If not, goose hydra, we're coming for you. The petty does not end across planes.
Yeah, he's currently being attacked by a toilet goblin.
The worst kind of goblin. Now, moving on, we're going to get into something that's not a mechanic, but one of my favorite things that they're doing in all these new sets. They had mystical archives, I believe, in like Strixhaven and all these different things. Now we have Enchanting Tales, which is just a set of reprints of some of the like just best random enchantments that needed reprints in Magic. And in addition, so there's like a whole scale of this. I'll break it down for you real quick because it's booster fun, so there's things coming everywhere. We got the Enchanting Tales. So these are going to be reprints of like some famous enchantments in Magic that have a new full art form. You can get these in regular and foil.
And extra, they have regular extra crispy, like you have your Smothering Tides.
Yeah, they got some crispies. Yes, Smothering Tides.
Omniscience is out there. Parallel Lives is out there. So
Doubling season.
A lot of the Commander reprints are basically out in this set, so you can experience that.
Yeah, and it is nice because similar to Mystical Archives and some of those others, they're going to be a lot out there. So I'm excited to see those. It kind of like progresses though. So we got Enchanting Tales, bam. Then you can also get the anime enchantments, which are like these Enchanting Tales that may be some sort of anime artwork. Those are beautiful. They look very fancy, and I know I'm going to be trying to chase those, but there's more. Apparently, there's also confetti foil. We managed to actually see one of these as we were getting ready for this video. They look very pretty. They're very confetti-ful is the best way to say it. And again, you can get some of these like just staple enchantments with all these different arts and foils. Yeah, the cool thing is you're going to find something useful out of these. It's a good time getting to see these like bonus cards in there.
I will say I do like the detail that they put on, especially the new foils, like the anime foils out there. There's nothing like seeing an Ichigo on the Defiant Strike. That's just amazing.
Yeah,
or maybe put Neji on Deflecting Palm. That's all we need. That would be perfect.
Yeah, I love the. I'm a sucker for art. I think we all are, and getting the chance just as you're opening cards to see all these like bonus fancy arts, super fun. And it's also like, oh gosh, there's a Smothering Tithe in the back of my Wilds of Eldraine pack. I did not see this coming.
There's peanut butter in my chocolate. There's chocolate in my peanut butter.
Now, a few other things about the set. There is a new rare land cycle. These lands come in tapped. They can turn into creatures, and they have some sort of ability when they attack. These are similar. We had a rare land cycle a while back that did similar things where you could turn them into creatures. They had all these abilities. Anyway, the rare dual lands come in tapped. These are interesting if you have Lands Matter decks, all those types of things. Honestly, the more rare land cycles, the better. Get more options. Nobody wants to have to worry about collecting very specific dual lands. You want to just get what you can grab.
I will
this
say
makes it easier.
A lands only deck where you have a bunch of creature lands does sound plausible.
And there are creature land synergies in the set.
Exactly. And I will say this, piggybacking off the last Lord of the Rings set, food seems to be a very heavy mechanic in this set. So there may be a lot of combinations that you can do with that as well. I see you, Samwise.
Hey, that's always gonna happen when Frodo and them boys are done throwing the ring in the big volcano, because I think that's the plot. They're gonna run over and hang out in the wilds of Eldraine. Mm-hmm. I bet Frodo and Imhotep would be besties.
I'm telling you,
they'd just be chilling.
Second breakfast tastes better in Eldraine all day. All day.
Just wait till third breakfast. Now, the last thing we want to talk about before we get into some of our favorite cards is they did it. And by it, those Walking Dead cards that got released, it's been forever ago, a few years ago at this point. Mm-hmm. It looks like we finally, in the set boosters, we are getting the universes within versions of those Walking Dead cards. We managed to see the new in-universe version of Negan. This is super exciting. I know that people have been waiting a long time. Some of those cards just are hard to find at this point. So this is incredibly exciting. Especially for people, I like The Walking Dead. I think you did too, so we didn't mind it. But if you weren't a fan of the show and you wanted universes within, those are kind of those extra slots in the set boosters to find those. So that's super cool. It took a while, but they are here. So anybody who's been waiting to play Ranger Rick and wanted it to be Phyrexian Ranger Rick, I don't know what plane these are from, but yeah, it's finally here.
Now Rick can just be busted in regular Magic.
Yeah, just to clarify on those two, those are the exact same cards. So universes within and without, you can't play two of them in a deck. Or in a commander deck, they're the same card.
Now, when it comes to the legendary stuff, legendary creatures from this set, although we have not seen them all, the ones we've seen have been quite promising.
Ooh, yes. So we're going to talk a little bit about, I think we each picked a legendary creature that we're a little bit excited that we've seen and excited to get a chance to build around and see what they can do. Kent, do you want to go first? Talk about what legendary sticks out to you.
Sure. So first, I'd like to talk about Bernard Ginger Sculptor. One is a gingerbread man on here.
It's the gingerbread man.
Not the buttons. Not the control buttons. But that's one of the main reasons I like this card. Each creature you control that's a food or a golem gets +2/+2 and has trample. This is a 4-drop.
Getting punched by food.
Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1 food golem token in addition to his other types, and it gains pay 2, sacrifice, and you gain 3 life. It literally makes food off the bodies.
It's reverse Shalab. So Shalab was the spider from Lord of the Rings that did the whole thing where, like, when your opponent's creatures dies, you get food tokens. Now it's just your own things. I love this card. I might just steal that from you later. That's such a fun deck to build because you could just play a bunch of interesting creatures, turn them into food tokens, he buffs them, and you get all these cool artifact synergies, which is one of my favorite things about the food tokens.
And then, of course, you get to abuse ETB effects, too, because when they come in, they still come in as their type, so it doesn't matter. And then you can sack them in at an instant to get you some life, just in case you need it.
I really like that card. Yeah, I'm going to be stealing that from Ken later. That seems a lot of fun. I love food tokens are probably my favorite type of token. Treasures, I think, are just way too played out. They're too powerful. Lotus Pedal is like an incredibly powerful, like, format defining card. And you were just getting those everywhere. People are just pooping out Lotus Petals and coughing up Lotus Petals every time they do something. I really like what food does because it doesn't make you mana, it doesn't draw you cards. It gains you a few life, but you can do cool artifact synergy. So that's, yeah, I'm going to piggyback it. That's a pretty cool card. I'm going to go with a card that, it's kind of because the art looks really cool, but I also think the mechanic could be interesting. And it's going to be Hilda of the Icy Crown. So Hilda it's blue-white, not really a color combination I typically play. But it has to do with annoying your friends, and you know I love to do that. So whenever you tap an untapped creature an opponent controls, you can pay 1 mana, and when you do, you get to choose one of the following. You can get a 4/4 token, put +1 counters on all your creatures, or scry 2 and then draw a card.
So think about your Frost Titans, think about your sleep mechanics, think about all that. And then
you just put everything to sleep.
Everything to sleep. Night-night.
Yeah, I was about to say, you ever go night-night?
You ever go night-night? I will say one thing about Hilda.
It's group nap time. Isn't that what you don't you want your friends to have nap time?
All I can say about Hilda is that it looks like the cold doesn't bother her anyway.
So, yeah. Not only that, Hilda in the set also has her crown there, which also taps down creatures and gives you benefits for tapping down creatures. I really think this card is cool. Now, my challenge is to build this in a way that doesn't make everyone tap me. Like, that came out so bad.
Yeah, to quote the great poet Akon, tap that. Anyway.
But yeah, basically I want to put my opponent's creatures to sleep and not have them make me go night-night after the game because they were so annoyed. But I like the challenge. I think it's a really cool card. So that is the commanders we like. Those are the ones we're most excited. Our overall thoughts, how are we feeling about this first impression? We're literally just getting to kind of view a lot of this today. This is our initial impressions. How do you feel so far?
Coming from somebody who plays Commander, there's a lot of staples in here that's going to fit in a lot of decks. And that's one thing I will say. It's going to be very interesting to slot these cards into a lot of our Commander decks. When it comes to lesser formats, I don't really care. But I do see some all-stars that may actually be breaking the formats out here. So this is going to be real interesting to when people go to their pre-releases to see what they actually do.
Yeah, I'm so from what I can see so far, I'm really excited. I think the Enchanting Tales really sells me on the set because I feel like a lot of the cool, like, flavorful stuff is awesome, and then you can get some of those like more like stapley cards just kind of stapled into some of the packs, which is really cool. I love the art so far, which is something that we always are a sucker for, and I'm excited to play more with adventures since I kind of ignored it the first time through. There seem to be some very powerful cycles, and that's kind of what we're going to close it on in one of the cycles of adventures, if we want to talk about that. Can you have a particularly spicy card? This is essentially a set of mythic adventures where you do something and then you can recast it as an enchantment, and it just does some spicy stuff. Now,
ridiculous.
We have a few of our favorites. There's one for each color as this cycle, but we want to close this because this is kind of the thing we were most excited about. If you want to tell them about the green one, I'll go ahead and start with the red and the black.
Okay.
So I'll start with the black one real quick, and that's going to be, these are the virtue cycle, essentially. Start with Virtue of Persistence. You can send it on an adventure to go ahead and give a creature -3/-3 until end of turn and gain 2 life. That's fine. But you could then cast it as an enchantment for 7 mana that says at the beginning of your upkeep, you put target creature from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That's at the beginning of your upkeep every time. It's like Shieldred, except with anyone's graveyard.
Shieldred, but worse.
It's removal, and then on top of that, you get the crazy effect. And the red one does something similarly ridiculous, where you can go ahead and it can deal 2 damage to any target, just as an adventure. It's just a shock, like whatever, instant speed shock. We have those, but it is removal. And then you get to the spicy side, where whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, you may exile that many cards from the top of your library and play those cards this turn.
Let me tell you about something called Virtue of Strength. Okay, for 1 green, you can return target creature or land from the card from your graveyard to your hand. That's stupid anyway. But let's get dumb, all right? Let's fail 3rd grade, okay? Virtue of Strength.
It was 4th grade, and I didn't fail. They just wanted me to try it one more time.
I'm just saying a hit dog will holler. If you tap a basic land for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana. Sweet Lord, what are we doing?
I am so excited. Sorry, not to cut you off.
What are we doing with our lives right now? What are we doing? Why are we putting Nyxbloom Ancients on enchantments? Why are we doing this?
But they did it for basic lands. I love this. So Nyxbloom Ancient, if you ever played against it, you got to kill it immediately, and if you didn't, you're probably either dead or they're still taking that turn because that's how long the turn's going to take.
I'm just going to honestly just soil yourself and use that as a distraction right out the room.
But it feels like it's like they took Nyxbloom, who triples mana from any source, and it was honestly just not a fun card to play against, and then made it specifically for basic. So if you're playing in a basic land heavy deck, I love either non-basic punishment or basic types of like rewards, essentially, because that means if you're playing more basics, if you might be playing a more basically a beginner deck, if you're starting or you just like basic lands, you're getting the payoff, and it's actually a hoop to jump through. It's not, oh, I have the fanciest best mana base and I'm also breaking everything. Oh no, this is wonderful.
Oh no, we getting our Frank Castle on, baby. It's all about the punishment. That's all it is.
Yeah, I am a big fan. So that is a big one, the Virtue Signal, and there's going to be one last cycle we'll talk about that we can give a couple examples of. We'll just talk about the main one right here. Is another court cycle. So there was Court of Bounty and Court of all those from, I almost don't even remember what set that was in. You play those all the time.
Yeah. I ain't gonna even lie to you.
You should have just made it up, and I would 100% believed you.
Oh, sorry. I do remember where it came from. It came from Ixalan Part 2, back to the Shire. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So this court cycle is actually from the Commander decks, and similar to the Virtue, this seems like a very enchantment-heavy set. A lot of the main cards are enchantments. But this court cycle does similar things. If y'all have played against like Court of Bounty and the other ones, that's Bounty is the one I see most often. They're super fun cycles. I love bringing the monarchy into games, and I love getting rewards. And my favorite one that I'll just read here is the Court of Garenbrigg, where when it ETBs, you become the monarch. And at the beginning of your upkeep, distribute 2+1/+1 counters among up to 2 target creatures. Then if you're the monarch, double the number of +1 counters on each creature you control. This is a 3-mana enchantment.
Oh my god, that is going in Atraxa so hard.
Yeah, if you're in any sort of stompy +1 counter deck, you're putting +1 counters, doubling the +1 counters, and introducing the monarchy. Yeah, they all seem cool. That was my favorite just because I love to stomp on things and become overly large and turn sideways.
Speaking of which, this is just a happy coincidence, but there's a battle that came out in the Marching Machines that at your end step, you put a 1/1 on all your creatures. So...
Yeah, they seem fun. Both these cycles really stuck out to me as just like, I love stompy things. We've got a whole cycle of like 5 to 7 mana enchantments. We're bringing in the monarchy. I love when the top end cards in a set are 7 mana and introducing fun mechanics. I am so much happier than when we have, Docksides and Jessica's wills and that type of stuff.
I'm just saying the power creep is real in this set. The power creep is very real.
I'm a fan. So let us know what y'all think. That is going to wrap it up for our first thoughts. We're going to go on an adventure ourselves to see if Ced survived his bout with the Goose Hydra. If not, let us know in the comments below how we should get revenge on this Goose Hydra. Should we? Well, maybe, you know what? Not to like be rude to Ced. What if the Goose Hydra replaced Ced on the show?
I'd be down with that.
Just
Who doesn't want a Goose Hydra? Actually, I know I've already put bids in to replace Ced with Finn and Jake anyway, since we're going on an adventure. But thank you guys for watching, and tell us about what you guys think about some of the cards that you've seen and what you hope to see coming out in this set. And tell us if we're wrong about our choices. I mean, you're wrong for thinking that we're wrong, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. But until next time,
Goose.